Ultra and Myrtle Beach wholesaler Southern Crown Partners Incorporated know our consumers enjoy relaxing days on the water with Mick Ultra's crisp and refreshing taste in hand. It's important to remember to drink and boat responsibly. Choose to be or to designate a sober skipper before leaving the dock. Do it for your family and friends, your passengers, and everyone else on board. Michelob Ultra salutes all sober skippers who take the pledge. Cheers, and we'll see you on the water.
In Myrtle Beach, you always go at your own pace. Lie out on the sand, lie out by the pool, go boogie boarding, go surfing, walk the boardwalk, walk the marsh walk, golf at one of 90 golf courses, mini golf at one of 50 mini golf courses, fish off a pier, fish from a chartered boat, go shopping, get drinks, eat the freshest seafood. The list is exhaustive, but the experience isn't. You can go all out or do nothing at all. How you relax is up to you. There is so much to do and explore, whether you're traveling with friends, family, or just yourself. With 60 miles of beach, you're going to find your place. If this sounds like what you need, then this is where you belong.
Trilogy Outdoors.
All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trilogy Outdoors Radio Show. It is our privilege to be back live, coming to you through the Toyota Tundra Studio, presented by Sparks Toyota, where the dealer's always in.
And by Key West Boats and Marshall's Marine of Lake City and Georgetown, where every day is a boat show.
Every day. And by our good friends at Monarch Roofing, and, of course, Express Electrical Services over in Conway. And we are coming to you from MIFC, that is Merle's Inlet Fishing Charters. For any of you that do not know where that is, there aren't many people out there that don't know where this is, I hope. But we are live, and we got the whole crew together. When I say the whole crew, we are only missing Captain Matt.
The River Rat.
We are only missing Captain Matt, the River Rat, but we got everybody else here. And coming up at 9 o'clock, Captain Coach Rayburn will be starting his final kids seminar here on the Marsh Walk, and they're going to be doing it here at MIFC, and we're going to get some of those kids maybe on the air. We're going to have some kids fishing like Tony over here, the big kid, and Tommy Buchanan might be down there fishing already, but we got Captain Fred's here with Sweet Tea Charters, and Jason and Captain Chris Regan. You heard his giggle over there in the background. And, man, we've had a busy couple weeks. Of course, y'all have had a busy summer, the two of y'all have.
Yeah, it's been tough.
We've had a busy couple weeks, and you guys were victims of the internet crash explosion last week.
Yeah, that didn't turn out well.
Both ways, too. Going down and coming back.
Yeah,
Yep.
if we would have had a travel agent, we would have fired him. We'll put it that
So
way.
on your flight down, that was because of the weather, right?
It was.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. That was on that Monday afternoon, right?
It was.
Yep.
Yep.
And, man, but it was all worth it.
Absolutely.
They've been at ICAST, and what is, let me make sure I can get this right, International Convention, what is of something.
It's the biggest fishing convention
biggest
on the
convention
East
in the
Coast.
world,
How about
okay?
that?
They said the whole United States.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
I believe it.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
is.
So it is the biggest. I could tell you, and Chris can vouch for me. They couldn't have picked a larger facility in the United States. I mean, to walk from one side of this thing to the other, I mean, it's a 2-day process. You can't. It's humongous.
And this year was bigger than last year.
It was.
I've never been there for the ICAST, but I've been there for the PGA National Show. They have it there at the same Coliseum or same auditorium, whatever, convention center, and that's a huge place.
I mean, you could
colossal.
You could hit a driver multiple times in there and not hit the other wall.
And there were still multiple events because we had soccer back on one side where they were playing, and then the entire L shape of ICAST.
Yeah, they had some kind of military appreciation, for the Purple Heart people there. I mean, they literally had events after events. They had the
dance,
the dance,
scent, the candle and scent.
Yeah, they had
thing.
a candle and scent event. I mean, there must have been. If you put all the events together, what would you say? Right, 20,000 people in that building.
I bet there was more than that.
Probably more. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
more than that.
Well, I know you guys got to see some really cool stuff because this is where all the manufacturers launch everything new for the next year.
That's right.
Yes.
Pretty much all of it has not been in anybody's hands except for their true pro staff and everything else that have used it and tested it. And, it's always fun after ICAST to sit with somebody that's been there and hear about their favorite product that they saw, new product. And Yes, it can go from a boga grip to a trolling motor to a kayak to a rod to
A
whatever.
reel.
They had everything there. From we all, purchased, these new floats that you put in the pools and the beach and these water trampolines for our families. So, I mean, there's a little bit of everything from home decor to fishing stuff as well too.
Wait, floats did what? Beads?
All the boat stuff where they make the it's all the inflatable kayaks, chairs,
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff like that. So they do a big booth every year, and we always walk by because it's really nothing we do. So this year we stopped, and of course I think every one of us dropped $1,500 to $2,000 a piece.
Holy
to get 'em.
mackerel!
Yeah.
That is like a floating lounge. It's got a bar all around the outside of it. It's a big floating ring.
They have everything.
Look at that.
These are all for the pool, the beach, inflatables.
That's inflatable.
Yep.
Look,
8
magnetic things for your drink holders.
So
Wow.
it's super thick, rubber
Yeah.
composite. 8 psi is all it is.
You got to send me that video.
I will.
You got to send me that so I can show it. Well, look at that thing. So you just float in the middle of it. Your drinks sit around you,
Yeah.
food, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I bought pool chairs, and then they came out with a new technology. So they sell all their cups like this, magnet glued on it, doesn't spill.
You can't spill your liquor
Can't
drink
spill it.
makes sense.
while you're
Yep.
at the beach. The
So
pool,
it's like,
whatever.
why has
Why have they not done this in a boat yet?
exactly?
Why is that not on the dash?
That's what's coming. So that was part of the new product release. I got Hannah inflatable paddleboard. So it was-
Nice.
yeah.
Well, I love following y'all through texts and everything else while y'all are down there. Y'all have a great time. There are a lot of all the personalities show up in the outdoor world. You guys got to enjoy some time with Cephas,
Yeah.
who texted me and said, "You are missing a great time." I think that's what it said after I
Dur-
after I decoded his text.
During the next break, he made a personal message video for you that he told me to give to you next time he saw you.
All right, I will check that out. I
gonna be a
love
good one.
Cephas. Is he not a good dude?
Yeah,
He
I'll tell you.
he is amazing.
He is great.
Wonderful storyteller.
He loves being around people, dude.
He loves it. My man can drink some Angel's Envy as
I
well.
bet he drank 3/4 of a bottle.
He did
Wow.
and stood
Yeah.
strong. He
Yeah.
didn't
Stood strong.
stumble. He didn't fumble. He stood strong. So.
Well, this thing goes on the course of 4 to 5 days.
Yeah.
And while you're down there, you guys are obviously trying to make connections with companies and everything else. And I know in the past you had luck with Bahio. Is that where you got your connection with Bahio? And then
Glasses.
they were actually talking about you at, just so you know, at Hooked on Miracles.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
the guy there was talking about you. But it's a great way to make relationships with the manufacturer.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Jason already has a relationship with Z-Man and everything else. And Jason shared a video yesterday, and I think I shared it. I tried to.
Yeah, Trilogy shared it.
But I thought those shrimp really looked awesome. Now we're going to have a honest opinion here from everybody that got to see that. Look at him turning. But I do want to hear about this shrimp because it does. My first thought, as well as Tony's, was looking at those legs. It's like, oh my God, it looks little.
The legs are what got me. There's a lot of shrimp lures out there. They look similar to other ones, but I've never seen one when you dropped in a tank, which we did get to play with them a couple months ago. So I did see them in a neutral environment. There wasn't a crowd.
Right, that is correct.
And when you dropped them in the water and those legs, we said quivering. That's the only word I could come up with. When you see that, I don't know if that's enough to get a fish to eat it, but it's something I've never seen before.
Right.
So,
I like the Elastec part of it.
Yeah.
That they'll be really, really durable, and they will float, as y'all was talking about earlier. It'll.
the main brand that we use now, they work great. And so if you're going to compete with that brand, you're going to have something. It's going to be hard to outdo something that's already great. You know what
Yep.
I mean?
Yep.
I'm going to tell you one thing. I've gotten hung in 2 fishing lines in the last 3 weeks.
It's bad.
Fishing.
It's bad out there.
But you know what was on the end of both of them?
I could,
A double voodoo rig. On both of the lines that we got hung on the boat, were double voodoo rigs.
You know what that's called? $12.
Exactly.
987.
Yeah.
987 plus tax.
987.
Yeah, they're not cheap, dude.
Yeah.
But here's my deal. I got lucky yesterday. Right now, by the way, let's let everybody know. If you're coming to Merle's Inlet fishing and you got a cast net, and you want to spend some time throwing it, you can either get you a good dinner of shrimp, small creek shrimp, or you got plenty of bait, or you can just make it easy and go to Inlet Rocks or to Perry's and get plenty of shrimp right now. But the shrimp are loaded up
Yes.
in the inlet.
I could tell you on my afternoon charter yesterday, I have not specifically tried to get shrimp.
Yep.
And yesterday I went to some shrimp holes that I have not even touched since last fall. And even throwing the smallest cast net that I had on the boat, it was very productive, and they were good size. They're eating size as well. So
That's good. Well,
not like jumbos, but I mean they're pasta eating size.
well, so we're setting up some stuff with PC Fun. We don't, as a whole, we don't have a partnership or really a relationship with a rod or reel manufacturer or anybody right now, other than the little bit that I have with Luz through Let's Fish. But so we're setting up, bringing the vice president of marketing and one other, I think it's their regional sales guy, to town with PC Fun. PISCIFUN, okay? They're going to come to town, PC Fun. They're going to come to town, hang out with us for a couple days, fish, and do whatever. But, man, they sent me some of their equipment. I really like it, and I've used it the last couple of weeks, and I wanted to do that before I start putting it out there. Oh, this is great.
Yeah.
And be honest about it. But I can't wait for you guys to see their stuff. Value-wise, this is what I'm looking at. Yeah, it's not the high-end, $290, $300 stuff, but Tony's felt them. It feels like it's $150, $180.
Yes.
And at minimum. And I can't wait to see how that aluminum Naughty X holds up. It looks great right now. I'm trying to run it, put it through the ringer as much as I can. So much that yesterday I did not even rinse it off. I literally didn't rinse it off on purpose.
Purposely, yeah.
So see how it holds up compared to the other one that I'm having a nightmare with, and Jason's having a nightmare with,
Yes.
the other company. But what did y'all see as far as that goes? We were talking about a bait caster, a no backlash bait caster that y'all saw. Talk about that real quick.
It'll backlash. They all will. Those baits.
Baits.
BATES. High quality, and it's one of the first ones. They do freshwater and saltwater, so they actually have a saltwater rated. Already comes preloaded, ceramic bearings. All the internals, as far as the gears, are all brass. So
No.
I'm gonna order one and I'm gonna try it.
Yeah, we tried it. Going back to the ICAST, I mean, there's not many opportunities where you can walk around and have interactions with the owner of a company, their top pros, and people are honest. We went to another booth, not to get off the bait subject, but we went to another booth, and it's like, hey, I got a question about a rod. This is what I want to do, and you got these people that can point you in the right direction. You can't buy anything there,
Right.
but they're gonna point you in the right direction. So the bait thing, we walked over there, we admired the craftsmanship of the reel, and then you get to talk to the guy, and they explain like everything about them. And the first thing they're doing, they said, okay, put this in your hand, go cast it, try it out, give us, they wanted our feedback as much as, like you said, some guy that maybe is on their pro staff who's going to say all the right things because he's supposed to. You know?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier.
But it was a great reel. Probably
Where are they out of? Do y'all remember?
Was it Texas? Or no,
Texas or
Florida.
Tennessee, I don't remember.
I'll say this: it's one of the lightest bait casters I've ever touched, and the effortlessness. And it could have been the rod, but the casting, it was unbelievably easy. Like if you swung as hard as you wanted to, or you barely casted, you got maximum distance either way. It was crazy.
Wow.
He sat there. He no line on it.
Tony, you would be insane.
We're gonna get some.
They're not even out yet.
Yeah, they're not even on.
They're
the
not
market
even out yet. So he literally, unlocks like he's gonna make a cast, one finger, and it was literally like it sat there free spinning for 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I told Tony.
Brand new out of the box, obviously.
Right.
But 3 minutes that thing sat there and spun.
He'll tell you, even when we went to cast it, the area that they gave us to cast, well, what would you say, 75 yards? I mean,
Probably.
And we couldn't keep it in the pond. I mean, and we were going over the pond, over a wall, and I mean, effortless. It was just amazing. Me and Tony were talking about it right before we got on air. He was talking about crankbait fishing. He said he could see that being hugely beneficial.
Huge.
Being able to maximize your distance on every cast,
Right.
especially the crankbait fishing.
So, but when it comes to bait casters and spinning, real quick, both of y'all are, I know Chris has really been working on, you're fishing more bait casters than you were 5 years ago, weren't you?
I am. I was never a bait caster person.
Right.
And I like to be good at everything. So now, like the one rod that I always keep in the truck is a bait caster because then I'm forced to only throw that.
Yep.
So trying to get better, I like to be well-rounded. So,
Well, that's good. That's important.
Yeah.
So, bait wise, that shrimp I know was one of Jason's favorite things to see new things. What? How about you, Captain Chris?
I am on this this glide bait kick for some reason, and I don't know why.
All right, so why you? So where in saltwater you think it's going to work?
I think you'd be surprised. Larger profile baits, larger profile fish. So I found this one, and it's actually.
I'm with you. Tony and I both agreed that bait is something that needs to be in the saltwater and has needed to be in the saltwater.
I don't need like a 12-inch one, but I found the one. And it's actually the same company that he loves their boga grips out of, but it's metal. It's all CNC polished aluminum, and I mean it looks amazing. Interchangeable tails.
All right. Would it hold up to a king mackerel?
I think it would.
That's been my big thing about it.
So they use them down in Florida a lot. I sat there the entire time talking with them and catch giant snook on them, big tarpon, all that stuff. So then it's trying to figure it out, where to go with it. So that was one of my favorite kind of lures. A lot of the other ones, we can debate that, and you already heard my
Yep. So on the glide bait, for those listening that don't know, so a glide bait is basically it's a big artificial, started about a couple years ago in bass fishing. It's gotten really popular. They're real big baits.
It all started with soft baits, like the big Huddlesons and stuff out west on California with these big 10, 12-inch wedge tail soft swim baits. And it's progressed over to plastic lures now, and it hand carved lures. It is one of the biggest markets.
So
in fishing,
have they got the price down on them yet? Okay, and I say that because Matt Robertson, who we love, and that fishes on the Elite Series, Matt lost one. Got hung up on a stump at a lake in the bass tournament and went back with a cast net and his live scope to find it and actually got that thing. Remember, he caught that bait. But he said it was, how much was that bait?
I'm not.
$900 and something, or was it more than that? Yeah.
The ones we saw at ICAST were like $250.
So the ones like talking with JT when we were out there, I mean, he's got some that are $1,500.
Yeah.
By the time you change the hooks out, add weight tape and, do whatever you're going to do to it, you get almost $2,000 in it.
Yeah, so I got video of that one JT was throwing at Waccamaw Outfitters, and dude, to watch it move, it was crazy. And I was like, I'm with you.
So
you guys are fishing back in the shallows a lot now these days, and a lot more. But if you went back there and threw that thing in a creek that didn't have a lot of mullet in it, a lot of bait in it, and you started sending that thing coming by a flounder, I think,
all of it, a
redfish or a trout, I can't see where they would not just devour it.
That's it. It's always, you're always trying to be ahead of the next step and trying to find something new that's going to catch a trophy fish or whatever, You're not going to catch a baby flounder or a baby fish on that thing.
Yep.
You're going for one purpose.
Well,
so tournament fishing, all that stuff, who knows? Maybe there's something to it.
Yep.
Well, first off, you're not going to see a whole lot of people throwing.
Yeah, $130 lure in here.
Yes. Just for the fact of oyster shells and stuff like that, and losing it. But they downsized and went to a mid-range on them now, and the 6 to 8 inch.
Yeah,
man,
and that's where I'm after because I don't have any experience on it, but
you're matching the hatch. You want to match the hatch of those bigger mullet and bigger menhaden.
Yeah,
in the creek. Yeah.
All you got to do is go back and look at the bass and the redfish guys when they was teaming up doing the championship stuff. You look at Chris Zaldane. Man, the Lord have mercy. He made that 8-inch swim bait famous for redfish.
Yeah.
Well,
you think about, where we live. Chris can, vouch for this. We do a lot of shallow water fishing, poling on the flats boats, putting charter boats in places we shouldn't. But we have to have the largest number of big mullet anywhere in the world because you can go in any creek at low tide. So the question is,
go in the grass.
Go in the grass.
It's even worse.
But you know what I mean, like. Stuff's eating that.
Yeah, exactly.
There's not that. This isn't a free space for mullet to come live and never get harassed. There's stuff probably eating those 8 to 10 inch mullet constantly.
Like a 1 pound flounder.
Yeah,
and look at the pressure that we're having now. You go to a bank and there's 9 guide boats lined up. that are 20 feet apart from each other.
They're all catching.
So you have to find something that's going to separate you from everybody that puts a knocker rig with a mullet on.
Y'all,
You know?
I can't tell you, but in the last 2 weeks, I have gotten 3 messages from people from out of town that came to town fishing and talked about the amount of traffic here.
It's insane.
They couldn't believe it, but they talked about the fish. They could not believe that our fishery could sustain the amount of people that are here fishing.
I
will say this much: like, as I know, we all know that it's crowded. We do. We all know it's crowded. We can complain all we want to. The point in doing anything about that happened. We missed that 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's going. I mean, we're living with it.
Yep.
But they are correct when you look at what. I mean, look at Captain Chris, Captain Jason, Captain Caleb, Captain Jimmy, all these guys, Captain Tommy, all the guys on the fish finders over there. If you look at what they're catching on a daily basis, it's amazing when you think about the number of boats that are in here fishing.
Yeah.
I'll make a claim, and I'll let Chris put his opinion on this, but I think this is the best year I've ever seen.
I agree with you, and it's surprise. I cannot believe, because obviously we just got crazy.
I like that.
Jesus,
I was not ready
I was
for that.
like, what is that?
I've been on the boat too much.
You look at the rain that we just got, so it cooled the temperatures down. But look at when we were in the 88, 93 degrees.
Historically,
still catching fish.
Historically, the fishing should have not been good. I mean, he's dead low tide in the middle of the day with a southwest wind. I mean, we're seeing 90-degree water. Historically, you find that, guess what we're catching? Stingrays.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. If you got a family of 4 and you just want something to pull the rod, that's fine. These fish, I mean, I'll make the claim, and I'll debate it with anybody. I have never seen a year as consistent as this with big fish, consistent fish. But you could argue, the technology's better, the hooks are better, the skill level's better, whatever. But
we're still in July, so give it 3 weeks in the middle of August.
I don't think it can get any hotter.
I hope we say it. I hope we're saying that in August. And
I do too.
All right, so we got to go to break in a minute, but this brought me to something that I wanted to bring up today. So we were talking last week prior to Hooked on Miracles and the Cape Lookout Shootout tournament. We were talking about this year versus last year just in Kings, okay? Just in the King mackerel. And, through the world of information, which if you're going to King mackerel fish and you don't have some connection in the information world, you're in trouble. But it seems like there's a lot of kings being caught in Georgia and North Florida right now, big fish, that supposedly should be coming this way. But we were talking about the fact that we seem to be behind.
We had a conversation.
And last year we were in front. Remember, we were saying we were so far forward. We were so far ahead all summer long, we kept saying. But we seem to be behind. What do y'all both think about that real quick before we go to break?
I had a conversation with one of the guys down there, and it's the same thing in Florida, because you take our, not even king mackerel, our cobia fishery this year.
I could say
What cobia fishery?
Exactly. So everything is passing on the offshore side, because the current, everything's changing. Think about how early we had that southwest wind.
Yep.
So
That's a valid point. I didn't think about that.
everything's passing on the offshore side. Our water temp got super hot really fast.
Really fast.
It wasn't a gradual thing. So all those fish staying out there in the cooler water.
Yeah, but Chris could tell you, like we were just talking about, I mean, we were saying it's not August yet. In my opinion, it's been August since the second week of June.
Yep.
Oh, air temperatures?
We got hotter quicker. We got our traditional summertime winds quicker. And I agree. I mean, it almost seems to me, that we are falling into that bracket of 2 seasons.
Our
And
nearshore
we're
reefs
losing
are
our spring and our
dead.
fall.
They're dead.
Yeah. Yeah, our inshore reef.
3 Mile is dead.
All right, that was going to be my next question. Why it looks like all the fish that I'm seeing posted, like the pictures, and kudos to all the captains, not just MIFC and On the Fly, but kudos to all the captains that are really, it seems to me that there are a lot that are really trying to do their conservation job.
Yes.
And they are releasing a lot of fish. So you're taking pictures on the boat. And I've not seen any that I can recall of pictures of big flounder from the boat on the reef.
There was
None.
And
there
I'm
was,
not
there was
even-
some. You really have to pick, and I believe that the numbers that are all right around there, where everyone congregates, there are other places that you can go. But I think it's just like we talk about the conservation. Everyone sits there and is just, 8 lines dropping straight down. And those fish, I don't know if they know it, if we've overfished it or what, but I don't know.
All right. Well, hey, I'll tell you what a great first segment. I want to thank both of you guys for sitting in. Y'all welcome to stay a little longer. I saw Coach Captain Rayburn showed up. He's got a bucket full of bait and got some happy kids that'll be here just shortly to join him. But we are going to go to break, Jenna, if you'll get that thing cranked up. And we'll be right back on the other side. We're going to have Captain Fred and Tommy Buchanan come over here and join us. We're going to send Tony to go catch a flounder. And you're listening to Trilogy Outdoors Radio Show, and we're here on the Gator 107.9. All right, welcome back to Trilogy Outdoors Radio Show. We're coming to you live via the Toyota Tundra Studio, presented by Sparks Toyota, and we are coming to you from MIFC Merle's Inland Fishing Charters here on Jason's big wooden deck. And we're also brought to you by Key West Boats and Marshall's Marine of Lake City and Georgetown, where every day is a boat show. And our good friends at Monarch Roofing, Express Electrical Services, Blossman Gas, and all the other incredible sponsors. Crazy Sister Marina, Inlet Rocks Bait and Tackle, Polly's Island Outdoors, Perry's Bait and Tackle, Perry's at the Pier. Good God, I can keep going. Anyway, all right. So we got Coach Captain Rayburn sitting with us. And Rayburn, let's real quick. You got some kids coming that are going to have a great time and do a little bit of educational stuff here at the dock today. You're going to work with them, teach them some basic stuff, right, today? Is that what it is?
Yeah, this summer what we've been doing, a partnership between SALT and FCA, which is Fellowship of Christian Athletes, we've been bringing kids in, the younger kids, targeting on those younger kids.
Right.
That's our focus, pushing, around ages 5 to 8. We have some older kids that are 10 that don't know how to fish.
Right.
Just teaching them the basics of fishing today, teaching them how to tie knots, teach them how rigs work, teach them, how a rod and reel all work together for one common cause, and then we're going to try to catch a few flounder.
That's great, man. Well, it's been awesome. I saw some pictures. I actually shared some pictures because I didn't have any pictures of the ones you've done here at MIFC, but I did have some from our partners at Waccamaw Outfitters.
Yeah, Matt and I, we had a lot of kids, and the majority of them, we scholarship it. They were able to come for free, and we fed them, and, they had a really good time.
That's good.
What we did at the marina or Waccamaw Outfitters was we were fortunate the Tiger Anglers showed up. We got a lot of kids in Tiger Anglers. And to be honest with you, English, I just facilitated. We got some really good bass fishermen in Conway.
They took care of it for you.
They pretty much did everything. I just facilitated and watched, and it was a joyful experience. Here I'm on an island. It's hard to get help. We don't have a lot of kids other than Russ.
Right.
That fish salt down in this way. My mate Owen's working. He's staying busy. It's just hard to get help down here. But we got to really, with your vision and kind of our vision, getting into the schools and trying to get more kids out. If they don't fish salt, that's fine. Just getting them out on the water.
We're gonna work hard on that this year.
Yeah.
And now that you are retired, congratulations, by the way. That's a word I'll never get to say. But since you are retired,
well, I'm still working.
Since you are retired, you're working harder. You'll be working harder now.
Yep.
Yeah,
you'll be working harder.
It'll be fun.
But the world is going to be a better place because you're going to end up working harder, and that is bringing these kids and introducing them to fishing. And I can't thank you enough for making the trip last week. Rayburn actually signed up and volunteered for setup for Hooked on Miracles last week. And, you got to see my good friend Sarah, who's a Kingstree girl.
Kingstree girl.
Sarah had great things to say, and in our group text, I made sure that everybody knew exactly who you were because you didn't go around and introduce yourself like you should have. I told him, I said, dude,
I'm a humble guy. You know me. I was just doing my Christian service.
Listen, I realize that, but I'm going to tell you one thing. That is some great people down there. I am blessed to be on that board with those guys down there and ladies, and they are some great people, and they would completely jump behind what you do. And so with that being said, we did lay some groundwork for that, but the school thing I think is going to be big. And this wasn't me coming up with this idea. This wasn't you coming up with the idea. My reason was I had actually 2 teachers that said, we need y'all bringing our kids and teaching them fishing because there are so many parents that don't fish.
Yeah.
And that is how most of us, was a parent or grandparent, most of us got introduced to the sport.
Absolutely.
Fred, you did an incredible job with your 2, but that is how we got introduced to it. And so if we can start off little and have some after-school deal where we introduce them, just the basics. Teach them the basics. Teach them knot tying.
It's the start.
Teach them courtesy. Teach them safety. Teach them how to cast. Teach them how to throw a cast net, which I think is one of the biggest things out there. I do. I think
Start young.
Cast net. Start them young, and let's get them and get them introduced. And I think we'll make I think we're going to make a lot of headway this year.
Casting is the biggest thing.
Casting is the biggest
thing. You get them out there, and once you learn the cast, you can work baits different ways. But as long as you can cast and get it out.
Well, the bigger point is that you get them out of their faces, out of their telephones, and that you keep them out of trouble because fishing and partying don't mix.
Hello, honey. Are you listening to the radio show this morning, honey? I love you.
I thought fishing was a drinking sport.
But are you listening to the radio this morning? Sorry.
But the kids, it's a good way to keep them on a path of a better life, and it definitely worked out with my boys.
I'll tell you what.
Hands down.
You go hang out at a fishing tournament. I don't care if it's inshore, offshore, nearshore. You look around the room at the people there, and you tell me what kind of people in general are there.
Oh, good people.
That tells you a lot about the sport and a lot about how your life and fishing mesh together, and you learn so many different things.
And you pass on the passion of it, which is
you'll be broke.
You'll be broke.
You'll be broke.
Go ahead and understand that.
Well, you're teaching them a lifetime sport. I think fishing and golf, if they get education in that when they're younger, that's something that not only they can do with their friends, they can do with their parents, they can do with their grandparents.
Yep.
They can teach their kids, they can teach their grandkids. I mean,
I think you hit it on the head, though. It's the sportsmanship. It's the way they handle themselves, the courtesy to other anglers, boaters, all that stuff.
Well, that's like Andrew Vereen when he fished salt, and we know he won that championship.
Yep.
Classic kid. Andrew would come up there with one fish, whether it was 3 pounds or 1 pound, and he showed true sportsmanship. He would come up, he said, "Coach, I know you expect us to bring our fish up. I know you expect us to smile in the pictures." He said, "Sometimes it's tough, but I'm going to smile today because I got an opportunity to fish. A lot of kids didn't get that opportunity."
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm guilty. I'm guilty of being that guy. I'm guilty of not wanting to go to scale because I'm embarrassed but
Been there, done that. I've seen guys lose king mackerel tournaments and ag tournaments because they didn't weigh that little fish.
Exactly.
Because they were too embarrassed to walk up there.
Yep.
But then the next day they had the big one, and if they had the other one with it, they could have made a big difference.
Yep.
I'll tell you, we're gonna talk more about Hooked on Miracles when Jason gets back with us. Who we may not get him back now because he just passed us with a rod, so he's gone fishing. Let's talk about salt. Anybody wants to get signed up? Of course, everybody knows Student Angler League Tournament Trail. It is open to elementary school through high school, correct?
1 through 12.
Grade 1 through 12, and it is 2 tournaments in the fall, 2 in the spring.
In Georgetown, 1 in Beaufort, 1 in Charleston in the fall and spring.
That's right.
And 2 inches tournaments coming up next month.
Okay. So there you go, folks, and it's growing. Best way to find out more information on it and to get their kids involved.
Saltfishingwith2Ts.com. Everything's there. Pretty organized.
Yeah, it is very, very organized. Not pretty organized. It's very organized.
And we got some new sponsors this year, and one we talked about earlier. We hope that'll work out. That's going to be a big shot in the arm.
Yep.
It's going to be like a liquid IV.
Wonderful. Well,
but Timeless Mortgage, Nathan Landers, he came on board.
Yep.
I
was here that day.
Nathan's bringing Skylar this morning for today's event.
Well, it's wonderful. It's a great group, and I'm going to tell you the text that I got last night, which I've already shared with you, are why I love being involved in it, love promoting it, love doing whatever we can for it. But Cody Wilder,
that was Cody you were texting me.
That was Cody.
I didn't know who that was.
That was a text from Cody. So
wow, wonderful.
When we were here, when we did the show for national championships downtown Georgetown, the coach from Montebello came over and sat with us and did the show with us. And let me tell you, if you remember that show, this school lives bass fishing. All right, they do. They got scholarships. They got a housing off campus that includes 13 bays.
Wow.
For bass boats.
Holy
indoor
cow.
storage. Okay. The coach called Cody to set up a tour for him to come visit
No way.
tour.
Good for him.
Dude, if that ain't, I mean, that right there alone made my week.
Yeah.
And, made a lot more than that.
You
He's
just
a
made
good
me
kid.
feel a whole lot better.
But that is the thing. Like kids need to understand. The parents need to understand. There are opportunities to go to that next level of education and go to that next level, go to college, and to go fishing.
I don't think anyone
I mean, are you
realizes
kidding
that.
me?
Yeah.
I know.
Who's the other one? Erskine?
Yeah, Erskine.
They have an
huge,
entire fishing team.
huge.
I took it was a girl, actually, and her dad.
Yep.
I took them out on a charter, and they explained the whole process, and I was like, that is amazing.
Yep.
I mean, I get a free boat?
Isn't that crazy? I mean, it is crazy. And
Savannah Art.
Savannah School of Arts and Design is getting big there.
Yeah.
Um,
I tried to get Krista Edmonds to go down there.
Yep.
You know, the Redfish Queen, because she's an artist. She loves art, and I tried to get her to go down there, but
Well, where's
we
she
got
going?
our first salt grandkid now. Yada,
Yeah.
yada, yada.
Oh, good. That's the first salt grandkid, isn't it?
Yep.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, you mentioned Andrew, and by the way, Andrew's turned into an incredible person and fisherman. Andrew now works with Merle's Inlet Fire and Rescue.
Really.
Yep.
So
Yep.
something we're going to do with Salt this fall with Fellowship of Christian Athletes is we're going to have some outdoor huddles where it's going to kind of be like a fishing seminar,
Right.
where we're going to do 3 in the fall, 3 in the spring, 2 in Conway in the fall, 1 in Georgetown. And my man, the best speaker you could have is sitting right beside me, Captain Fred Roy.
Absolutely.
So
I
what we're
agree.
going to do, we're going to bring them in to the Rock and talk to them about Jesus Christ for a little bit, not long, just a short introduction, and then we're going to break out and kind of have seminars, 30-minute seminar, and then we're going to feed everybody, have some snacks and fellowship at the end, and people that So I'm excited about that.
That's perfect.
That's gonna be on a Sunday afternoon from like 2 to 3. It'll be user friendly. Most people that they want to get them to go fishing Sunday or get them to go to church Sunday, they still can come in the afternoon. But we're going to try to get into the schools. Where Horry County schools, they told me I could go through FCA and talk. I'm going to target the middle school.
Right.
What's FCA? Oh, I got
Fellowship
you.
of
Okay,
Christian
yeah.
Athletes.
Okay.
They told me I could target the middle schools. So if we can get them to come to the huddle, and the huddle's not about salt. The huddle's about becoming more educated in the gospel of Jesus and in fishing.
Fishing. Yep.
And then also during that time, I'm hoping that we can get some kids to take a leadership class. That way they can start at their schools their own kind of an outdoor huddle.
Yep.
And it doesn't always have to be fishing. It could be hunting. FCA has the big outdoors. What Fellowship of Christian Athletes done, instead of just having a club at the school, they're pushing sports. So your friend Lucas Williams, he helps with the basketball team down there in Georgetown.
Yep.
So they're trying to get into the sports. And that's why FCA and Salt are partnered. I mean, I'm the fishing rep for FCA on the coast, but I'm also the director for Salt. So it's
Right.
kind of together. It's separate but together.
Well,
But I wanted to, talk about that. That's something that first huddle's in September in Conway at the Rock.
well, if you turn on any news station and watch it for 10 minutes,
No, you get the play.
you'll realize that we need a lot of Jesus in this world.
No
Amen,
doubt.
brother.
For real.
Amen.
And you're on the Gator 107.9, brother. If you don't think you can talk Jesus right here, you're on the wrong station. That's
Yeah.
why I love being here. You're more than welcome to talk Jesus on this station. And if you listen to Adam, Jeff, or any of the other guys, you know where we all stand. Anyway, with that being said, real quick, we are going to go to break again. Jenna, if you'll get a break cranked up, we're going to get Rayburn, let him go get ready. He's got about 10 minutes before his kids show up, and we've got a couple guys fishing, so we'll get a fishing report from them. But I do want to come back and talk to Fred a little bit more, and we're going to sit here and talk to Chris and the one and only, what I call her, the fishing reporter, I came up with a good nickname for her. Adriana is here from WBTW, our reporter who is, we're putting her to the task of keeping all the fishing news out there for people to see. And so we're going to have her sit in with us and talk to her a little bit. I want y'all to hear about her flounder she caught the other day. Have you heard it yet?
No.
Okay, good. You'll get to hear about it.
Perfect.
All right, well, we're going to go to break. Jenna, are you ready?
Yep.
All right, y'all, this is Trilogy Outdoors Radio Show. We're coming to you live here on the Gator 107.9 every Saturday morning from 8 to 10. All right, y'all. We're back. It's Trilogy Outdoors Radio Show. We're coming to you on the Gator 107.9 live every Saturday morning from 8 to 10. We're coming to you through the Toyota Tundra Studio presented by Sparks Toyota, where the dealer's always in, and by Key West Boats and Marshall's Marine of Lake City, Georgetown, where every day is boat show. And
Every day.
of course, Monarch Group and our good friends Express Electrical Services. And I want to mention Mr. Stuart Altman from Marshall's Marine, who is going to be recovering for quite a while. Unfortunately, was involved in an accident at work and had to have a little surgery last week, and is going to be quite a while, have to stay immobile for that leg to heal. But he's in our thoughts and prayers. I stopped by and spent an hour and a half with him this week talking to him, and he's in good spirits. But that man goes 100 miles an hour, and he works every day.
He's a good guy, too.
And he is now stuck at home, but he's got an elevator in that house, and we're going to figure out a way. He ain't going to last 8 weeks, I can tell you that.
No.
Scotty and I have already talked about it. We're going to have to rig up something that we can get him to Marshall's, because, that's his life, and it has been for years, and he's incredible. But, Stuart, we're thinking about you and Miss Joan, who is having to play nurse for you. But now we've got Chris, we've got Brett here, and whoever else wants to grab the mic there. But we are sitting here, and real quick, we want to talk about the Spanish tournament, the World Championship.
World Championship.
And I'll tell you what. So there is another Spanish tournament that's self-proclaimed the biggest Spanish tournament in the world.
Really?
I looked at it. They held it in June. It's in North Carolina.
All right.
They had 37 boats.
That's it?
We have not had that few of boats in one yet.
Yeah.
So, but it is coming up.
Maybe
August
it's
24th.
maybe it's the biggest on the planet, not in the world.
Yeah, maybe. You're right. Well, our good buddy Scott Todd
I'll go with you.
at Father and Sons Welding Services has gone to work and is creating another one-of-a-kind trophy for first place. Importantly, $5,000 guaranteed for first, minimum. We've got some things in the works with Captain Sean Bond over at Crazy Sister Marina helping me. We've got some good things in the works for it. But Fred, I think, is now officially going to be our weighmaster once again.
Officially.
And the new deal is it's going to be the 24th and 5th, Saturday, Sunday. Optional of either day. You choose your day, okay? I had a lot of people asking. We pay 2 entries. Okay, here's the deal, and this is the deal. Yes, you can pay 2 entries. You're going to fish. One boat can only fish one day, all right? So, in other words, Chris has got 3 boats.
Yep.
He can fish on 2 different boats and pay 2 entries and fish, yes. But you cannot fish
the same boat.
And I do think that will add entries. Yes, it will. It'll bring more people to the tournament. That's great. That's what we want. But it's going to be a great time. We don't have anything new yet that we can release as far as the tournament goes, but the raffles will start next week, this week, and we are doing 2. We're going to start off with that $100 raffle that we do every year, where somebody's going to win $5,000, and then the tournament gives away $5,000 first place, and then we're going to do another one for $50 that is going to go to second. We'll split that money up between second and 5th place.
Awesome.
Okay, that money will be divided up evenly, and then you'll have entries that go towards that. So
right.
And so it got a lot of great things happening, but that is August 24th, 25th. Another thing I want to mention, if you have family that are coming in town and friends that are coming in town, because we've already got 3 people from out of town that have already booked rooms that are coming. Carl Carson, did y'all get to see Carl down there? Do y'all know Carl? Carl is Spro. He's Gamakatsu. He's a rep from Charleston. Well, he was at ICAST. Carl's already booked his room, but Brookwood Inn has been so kind. If you call to book a room for that weekend, and all you got to do is give them the code FISH. FISH, you're going to get 15% off that weekend.
Nice.
Awesome.
So they're partnering with us, and if you haven't been down there, there's plenty of room for trailers and boats and everything else. So it's a perfect
and park at your door.
And park right at your door. That's right. The old motor inn, you know.
Yeah, I mean, which is nice. I mean, especially if you got all your fishing gear and you need to unload. No elevators, no lobby, just open your door and walk in.
So a real interesting fact about Brookwood is it is on South Carolina's list of historical landmarks.
Wow.
I did not know that.
I didn't either.
Yeah, that's really cool. So thank you, Julie and Rob down at Brookwood for partnering up with us. But thank you to Sean and Crazy Sister Marina for once again, giving us a great platform to hold the tournament.
Yeah.
And we're hoping that we get this weigh-in on Saturday and Sunday huge. We want gallery out there, crowds out there, having fun, cheering on all our anglers when they come in. And once again, one rule that is typically stuck with that tournament and will continue to stick is that it's not a, fish from 6 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning till 5 at night. We are going to use our kid-friendly day that we normally do, and it is probably going to be, I think we do normally 8 o'clock lines in, right? Yeah, 8 o'clock lines in. You can hit the ocean at 7. 8 o'clock lines in, and then the scales will close at 4.
Okay.
And that's typically when it's been. I think it's been 3 in the past. Last year we went to 4.
Yeah. I think it was last year till 4.
Yeah, so we're going to do 4, but that gives you a fair time during the day to fish, but it also doesn't keep you out there killing the kids.
All right, well,
That's right.
For clarification,
Yep.
you got captain's choice on your boat. So if you have a single entry,
Yep.
you got captain's choice fish either day.
Either day.
But if you want, you can buy 2 entries, fish both days.
On a
Different
boat each day.
You
So you
cannot
can-
fish the same
Cannot
boat.
fish the same boat. Nope. Yep. I know.
I'm just.
I know. I agree.
I figured if it.
I agree.
I figured if it confused somebody simple like me, it'd probably confuse somebody else.
Well,
Yeah. No,
well,
it's
right here, right?
Let me tell you, I'm playing the devil's advocate. This crazy sister, I'm going to play the devil's advocate real quick because my wife already did. She's like, who's going to know if certain people fish their boat twice? And I'm like, well, we all know each other.
Yeah, oh,
For
absolutely.
the most part. And the ones that are coming into town, I know who most of them are. And,
It's self-policing because
It's self-policing.
other anglers are going to know.
yeah.
So last year, the Pathfinder fished both days.
Exactly.
So Jimmy,
Y'all switch teams.
well, Jimmy and his family,
Yep.
they fished it the first day, and then Caleb, Seth, and myself fished it day 2.
All right.
So that was how
So
we.
you've just brought
Y'all weren't.
up,
Yeah, they weren't on the same
but
boat.
now you've just brought up a point where I want to not stick to that because then you're all right. We're going to talk about it.
What, I mean,
We're
what
going
if
to
different
we're going
captains?
to table that discussion. Because
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a
yeah.
great point. We're going
But
to table
that was how we did it last year. It was the
Yep.
same boat because live well space and
I got you.
Yellowfin doesn't have trim tabs.
Okay.
So
We're going to table that discussion. We're going to table that discussion for now. So let me tell you why we're going to table that discussion is because you brought up a great point. And if it involves the fact that it's going to cost us a team because somebody doesn't have a boat where they can fish that boat, all right, we'll work.
As long as there's different crew on that boat.
that thing is going to
We're going
It got me the first time.
I know. We're going to table that discussion. All right. So we'll that's great points, man. That's great points. All right.
You want some fishing report?
Yeah, I want some fishing reports from you, and then we're going to let Tommy do some talking about what's been going on with DNR lately, and let's talk about safety on the water. And I haven't heard much about any craziness on the water.
It's been pretty relaxed.
Knock on wood.
We've made it through the holidays pretty relaxed. I mean, there's been some minor stuff here and there, but nothing like we've seen in the past years. Everybody seems to be educated nowadays, or more educated than more, and they're starting to, we have people, especially those that are not from here, they're still not paying attention to the wake zones, and that's something that's
going to happen.
That's going to happen. They're not used to seeing the buoys or the signs or whatever,
Yeah.
but it hasn't been as crazy. I know this is the last week for our new hire classes. They'll be getting done with their training. So we hired a class in January. Those guys and gals are going to be going to their field training after Friday this week. So you'll start to see some new faces around the state. Obviously around here. There's some officers coming here.
I've seen some
And then
ride-alongs this week, too.
Huh?
I've seen some ride-alongs this week. It looked like, normally where it's just one guy in one of the John boats, there's been 2.
Yeah, they've been. Generally we try when we get on the boat, and Fred was talking about this earlier about a situation we had talked about. We try to double up everything we can. I mean, it's safer that
I
way.
don't blame you.
The May class that we got hired on, those faces, Georgetown's getting 2 out of that class, Oree's getting 1. So those guys are going to start the police academy side of their training. So they'll be out in November-ish time frame, but they're all doing really well. It's watching these folks come from no experience and build up to what they are now. They are. It is pretty funny to watch them though sometimes, but at the end of the day, they're all doing a great job. The classes mesh really well, and you brought something up. I know that you had asked me about I call them the shellfish police, but
Right.
those guys, those men and women, those guys regulate the shellfish. And so they do water samples too. That's probably what you saw. And I showed you a picture of a uniform. He said
Right.
that's what it looked like. So
Well, I saw a guy and coming out of WD in a John boat with he did not have DNR apparel on. He was not
He
dressed.
wears a weird outfit. Yeah.
And shorts as well. I was like, blue shorts, but he was carrying a Glock.
Now they're through
And it's not-
DHEC, right?
yeah, as you know, DHEC separated, so it's no longer DHEC. But I don't know the exact name. I want to say it's the Department of Environmental Services. I think that's what it's called.
Yep.
So those guys and gals transitioned over to that department. So nothing's changed with their job. They're still regulating the shellfish product. They're doing the water sampling, and they do have a job that needs to be done.
Right.
We don't want something getting into our restaurants and getting people sick and getting the
going home.
exactly.
You know?
So that's what those guys do, and they are kind of few and far between. So
Yeah.
I don't know how many they have in the area now, but I know it used to be like 3 or 4 of them.
It was just unusual, and my first reaction was that's DNR, but then I didn't recognize him, and I know all the officers down my way, and didn't recognize him. Number one, number two, he wasn't dressed properly, but yet he had a Glock, so I knew he was law enforcement. I just couldn't figure out who he was.
Yeah.
So and DNR officers, they enforce the same things that these shellfish law enforcement guys enforce.
You don't think that the DNR can't enforce?
So we do. It's just
shellfish. They
that
can.
is that's their forte. That's what they concentrate on. So they do have a job that needs to be done again. We don't want something to get into our restaurants and get people sick. And the water sampling. I don't know much about it, but I know that when they close off shellfish beds and stuff, there's a reason why. It's not because they're being mean. There's something wrong with the water quality.
Yeah.
But no, I mean we it's been a from it's been a lot calmer that in my personal opinion than it has been for the last couple of years. But we're still in the middle of summer.
That's right.
And I think we've had a lot of rain over the last week, so this probably cut down a lot of the boating.
We needed it.
Oh yeah, we needed it.
We needed
Absolutely.
it bad.
We did.
I wonder what the little PD's looking like right now. I don't know if it's.
I don't know. I bet you can't get but halfway across it now.
Yeah. So I hope the clouds are out for the day, and we can hopefully enjoy a weekend without rain.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's been playing havoc on charters. I know that. It is for me.
Go out, come back. Go out, come back. All right, we're not going out anymore. Go home.
The disadvantage is I've got a minimum 20-minute run.
Yes.
And I've got to dodge in some routes that.
And it's open water, too.
Well, I ended up on Monday, we were on fish, catching them, and here it comes, and it's booming and cracking, and I'm seeing bolts, and I'm like, and when Yawkey got covered up, I was on the bay. When Yawkey got covered up, I said, all right, we're heading north. Well, just so that my anglers were staying in Debbie but I'd left from Georgetown. So I said, we're headed towards Debbie, and I had some spots over there, so we'll go over there and fish. Well, when I got over there, I was like, I had teenagers on the boat. I said, call your dad, tell him to meet us at the Debbie ramp.
Pick you up.
So anyway, that's what happened, and he says, you want to ride back to your trailer? I said, man, they'll charge me a fee to get back and pull my boat out. And he goes, I got the fee. So I drove back to Georgetown. It was pouring down the rain. I mean, just gully washing. Got back to WD with my truck, got to the guard shack, and the sweet lady at the gate made an executive decision and did not charge me to go in, and hopefully I didn't get her in trouble. But it was dangerous. It was a dangerous situation, and I think it was a nice thing for her to do for us, but yet I think it was warranted as well. But we were on the fish, which was also made it hard to leave too.
Who caught a fish? Who got one?
Who got a fish?
Who got a fish?
Or is that the charter coming in?
That's kids.
Yeah, it might be the charter coming in.
Nope, one of the kids got a fish.
What's the water look like down there?
The bay actually, Muddy Bay has been pretty clear. With this rain, that's going to change. So it depends on what's coming down the river.
Yeah, it's been weird here because it's been dirtier than it has been.
Even with no rain.
Even with no rain.
Yeah.
Y'all always
and
clear.
No wind.
Y'all are always clear, and I'm always muddy.
So that's why I was curious if it was different down there than what it's been here.
And Muddy Bay was actually pretty clear, unusually clear. But the red fishing's been good. We've been caught a couple 20-pounders and up in the grass and 3 foot of water and some bigger ones, over 30 inches. And then sitting there watching the tarpon banging up as well.
Oh yeah.
We're not seeing as many schools of the bigger mullets, but if you find the bigger mullets, they've got company.
Yeah.
You know,
I believe it.
Yeah, I mean, I watched one 100 pounds eat.
Speaking of that, I mean, there are a few spots left if you want to go down to Charleston again. The Holy City Tarpon Tournament is next month.
Is it really?
Put on by Marshware.
Is it? When is it?
Probably the 24th or 25th.
No, it is not. Nope, it is not. It's before that. I think it's right after when we're over there. I think it's that next weekend.
So it's the
That's Labor Day.
7th, 8th. No, the 10th.
Yes.
10th. That's perfect because the following week is the.
It is the 9th and 10th.
It's the 9th and 10th?
2 days. It's two,
Oh, wow.
2 fish days.
Well, I won't
Do
be
you
doing
fish in Charleston or can you fish?
You only have to launch a boat from a Charleston landing. You can go anywhere.
Oh.
You got enough fuel to go to Hilton Head or wherever you can.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, wow, that's good tournament.
In case
Well,
you
I mean,
want to try
if-
something different.
So I heard, I heard from McClure, I guess some of those guys went to Georgetown Monday or Tuesday morning before that rain ran them back.
Yep.
And I heard that the water, it was very full of life out there.
I believe it.
Saw some kings, skying, caught one, or I guess Justin caught one somewhere 24, 25 pounds.
They're out there today.
They are? They're
Yep.
down there again today?
Yes. Yes, maybe.
Well,
Might be.
they might see some tournament boats.
Wouldn't shock me.
They might see some tournament boats, but, like I was told last week, if you're not going, or 2 days ago by Brent McMullen, if he was fishing this weekend in South Carolina, he would not stop until he hit 150 foot of water.
I believe it.
Well, and that was what I was kind of telling you.
Yep.
65 to 85 foot.
Yep.
I mean,
You know where we ended up getting our bite? 65 foot of water. That's
Yeah.
where we got our first 2 bites.
yeah, this time of year, hot as it is, and
Did you catch a American Red on the downrigger?
No,
No? Figured you would.
no, I didn't. But I didn't get to.
I know other people that did.
I know a lot of people that did. I've heard some big ones. Somebody had a 30-pounder.
Jimmy had the fish of his life
Really?
on a downrigger. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
and
They're
that
protected.
in that deeper water this time of year, I mean, you got to go. I mean, even the surface temp's one thing, but
Yeah.
you get in the deeper water, they can get a little more comfortable. I mean, we fished in Florida, it'd be 80-something degree water, but the Kings would be in the 76-degree water,
Right.
closer to the beach.
Yep.
So
And
You getting rung up, aren't you?
maybe somebody's listening to the radio.
yep, they're calling for a trip.
Trying to book a trip with you.
And that's talking about that North Carolina fishery, Chris, you caught a big fish up there.
Amazing.
But they temperature break. It's all about the temperature
It
break.
is. It is. And it changes.
Yep.
So the first boat that finds it,
That's the lucky person.
They're
No doubt
lucky.
about it.
Yep.
And I think having that subscription for a satellite
pays off.
pays off up there.
If you're going to be serious, no different than
No, you're
live
right.
scope and all that stuff. You have to have that. Or have a good friend that has it and will share it.
Yeah. That shares an accurate temperature reading.
Well,
Yes.
I'll
Not
give,
one from 2 days ago.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. A perfect example is that Greg and I and Ronnie, we won a tournament in Miami, and I'd been studying the water temps, and up north where the hook's back, there was mid-70s degree water, but the Gulf Stream where it hits the kink in Florida starts to run offshore.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that water's in the 80s. The water between the stream and the bank was mid-70s. Like, that's where we need to be. And guess what? That's where they were.
Did you guys use Roths back then, or?
Yeah.
What y'all use? Yeah, that's what I figured.
And then I used to watch it for the tuna guys too when it hits Georgetown Hole. That was usually on tax day on April 15th. Got water would come up over Georgetown Hole, the yellowfins would show up.
Yeah.
I mean, bam! It was like
So that's another thing that I noticed. So you remember, what was it, 2 years ago when all the
Yellowfins were showing up.
So did you ever hear the science behind why they were doing it and
No.
stuff? So a lot of the guys that I talked to, the sandstorms,
yeah.
it was bringing
Off of Africa, it was blur. Yep.
nutrient-enriched water was making its way to our coast. It's happening right now.
Right. They're talking about
Sandstorm on the
holding
way.
up the
So
hurricane.
I'm very curious that if in the next couple of weeks the guys that go out there, if they don't come back with a bunch.
So what Chris is talking about is, you'll hear Piotrowski from time to time talking about an African sandstorm or whatever that's coming off the coast, and why we have like zero chance of any tropical formation
because of the sand. Yeah,
because of that, and it makes its way over here. Like
That's it.
remember at one point last year, I think it was, when the sky color was because of how thick it was.
Absolutely.
Well, my buddy Danny Payne, who was just calling me on the phone.
Hey, Danny.
Shout out.
He did his tours over in what we refer to as the sandbox.
Yep.
He says that sand, we think of sand, we think of the beach, right?
Right.
He says this stuff's like talcum powder. It's in everything. He says everything you have is constantly inside, doesn't matter. It's constantly covered with this powder. And that's what we would call that sand moving over, but it's basically powder up in the atmosphere. And they said this week we had no chance of any hurricane formation because of all the sand, all the dust moving. Well,
wow. Well,
we'll see how it affects the fish.
I'm going to be curious because that's how it was last time.
Could be.
So, who knows? Fun fact.
We've been talking a lot about fish and the kings, and like the numbers are down. And the thing is, and I hadn't kingfish a long time, but it's like any other fish. One year's. Y'all made a comment earlier that the fishing in the inlet's been as good as any year, right?
Yep.
But then the kingfish is not so good.
Right.
So 1 year is not a good barometer on what's going on, and hopefully the government won't make decisions based on a year.
Yep.
And
it needs to be more of a trend than it is a reaction to what happens in 1 year.
And like we were talking before, it's almost like that beach to 20 miles is slow right now.
Right.
But you get out further, you can get it's more productive out there.
Well, in the spring with the kings, when the water starts to warm up, it'll be warm offshore. It'll be warm at the beach, but then there's cold water in the middle. Those fish aren't going to cross that temperate change. They're going to stay offshore. When all that water starts to get an even temperature, bam, they come to the beach. So, right now, as hot as it is along the coast, they're going to go head out into deeper water, and this could be we just aren't fishing where they are.
Right.
It could be that simple. So, I mean, it's always that's why we do it.
That's why we do it.
That's right.
Hey, listen, I mean, they always keep you on your toes,
Right.
and you're always having to change and adapt and do everything else, to continue to be productive, and that's why I have nothing but the highest regards for all you charter captains that have to get out there and every single day try to perform and catch fish.
And adjust, and sometimes it works. I mean, I've flounder fished more this year than I ever have, and I have great success out of it. But, I mean, I'm not known for the flounder guy.
Nope.
I am not the flounder pounder, but yet we pounded on
logo.
some nice flounder.
Yeah, you're gonna have to change your logo.
You're gonna
have to change that logo.
So
I can see a flounder tail starting to come into that
it's
logo.
too bad we don't have tail and flounder.
Oh,
That would be awesome.
So, it's funny that you say that because I had my fly fishing trip the other day. I caught more flounder than reds.
That was
I saw that after that
was
trip.
by accident, not by target.
We were targeting the reds, like
Right.
I could see them, and the flounder were underneath them.
Nice.
Yeah, same thing. And a foot of water.
Well, it could be that the reds are stirring the bottom up, and flounder are just taking advantage of the situation.
Could
Yep.
be.
Maybe they're buddies.
Could be. I don't doubt it.
Hey, did the flounder pull on the fly line?
Yeah.
Then it's
Yeah. Fly fishing's fly fishing.
you're a hero.
If I could perfect that mullet on a fly,
There you go. You're a hero.
you're rich.
There you go.
Yeah, I saw him after that trip, and he said, "Dude, we killed it."
Yeah.
And again, that fly fishing thing, y'all both offer it. Take people to do it. It just seems to me like you've got to, you know how we all are. Like, oh, can you play golf? Oh yeah, I'm really good. Yeah. Like a Jason Burton. Oh yeah, I'm really good.
Yeah, that's right.
And then they show up, and it's like, oh boy, I thought you said you were really good.
No,
but
what happened? What happens with the fly guy?
The fly guy, like, oh, can you cast? Yeah. All right. So can you make a double haul? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then they show up, and you're wearing a fly in your ear the first cast. I mean,
Had it.
so
What I found is the guys that tell you how skilled they are
Are the worst.
have none.
None.
And the guys that are extremely humble are usually the good guys.
They're
And
dropping dimes.
I said, look, I don't need you to throw 70 feet. I need you to throw 30 foot and
That's
hit a
it.
Cool Whip lid.
That's all that I need.
I don't need any more than that. So,
Yep.
you don't need to throw – you don't need to dazzle me with an 80-foot cast. I
No.
need 30-foot
30
accurate. but it always works out. The guys that are humble
Yeah.
are really good at it.
It is.
You know, they won't exaggerate. They won't exaggerate their skills, but they usually have a lot more than they say they do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, it's been really interesting topics and wonderful topics. And Captain Chris, Captain Fred, it's always wonderful to have y'all here. We are going to go to break. We've got to take another break. And we were going to have the one and only Bouncer Smith with us today, Captain Bouncer. We were actually I was going to try and steal him, and we were going to record a podcast after. But since he's not here, we're going to record one this week. But if you don't know Bouncer, you're missing out. He is a true legend in this sport.
Yeah.
Forgotten more than we'll ever know.
Exactly, and a wonderful storyteller, great storyteller. Has so many interesting stories to tell. But he's not going to join us. But we do have some other people here that will join us in the next 30 minutes. So we are going to take one more break here and come back. And don't forget, next week we will be at Crazy Sister Marina once again for part 2 of our Law Enforcement Officers and First Responders Appreciation Rodeo. And we do have, I'm not going to give any names out yet, but we do have some really cool guests that are going to be joining us next weekend, and have not got that list completely pulled yet. But Sean, thank you, and Crazy Sister for hosting us once again, and we're looking forward to getting over there. But we're going to go to break real quick, and y'all stay tight. Go get you another coffee, get ready, and we'll come back with some great stories on the other side of this break. This is Trilogy Outdoors Radio Show. We're coming to you live via the Toyota Tundra Studio on Gator 107.9.
You're clear.
All right, fish heads, welcome back to Trilogy Outdoors Radio Show. We're coming to you live from Jason's big wooden deck here at MIFC, but coming to you through the Toyota Tundra Studio, presented by Sparks Toyota, where the dealer is always in, and by
Marshall's Marine. Key West Boats for Everyday Smoke Show.
Oh, every day, boy, you bunch that one up. Don't forget Marshall's Marine, Key West Boats. All right, here we go. And we're also brought to you by Monarch Roofing, our good friends over there, and Express Electrical Services. And make sure I got these audio levels good. There we go. I had your mic turned up for somebody else, for Rayburn. But Tommy does not need his mic turned up, and neither does our other guest, because she's used to being in front of the camera and on air in front of people. And you were the anchor last night? Is that what
I did anchor, well, for our Fox show, WFXB.
Okay. Which show is that?
It's our Fox show.
Not the news.
Well, no, it is news. It's just
It's just the Fox Network.
We do a Fox show as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That is the voice of Adriana Lawrence.
Hello.
Our buddy, and she's our new fishy reporter.
Oh, yeah.
We keep feeding her all the fishing stuff, so she'll cover it for us.
Oh, I got a good story coming up this week, too. So
Good.
I'm going to talk with Geddes Brannon, so.
Did you really? Okay, what's this one? Oh, you can't talk about it. Can you?
Well, it has to do with the red snapper fishing date, so doing a follow-up on that. But, yeah, I love very important topics.
Speaking of red snapper season.
How'd you do?
I didn't go fishing. Are you kidding me?
I don't think anyone did.
Like, I would have rather just get kicked between the legs than go out there and that. It was nasty, dude. And
One day.
Every year.
One day.
Every year when it happens, it's always nasty. And then I sent you.
They must plan for that.
I know. I sent Adriana the information for August 11th for the SAFMC meeting at Merle's Inlet Civic Center here.
Yes.
Talking about Spanish and king mackerel, which we've mentioned earlier in the show. I can't wait to hear more about that. Adriana was with us a couple weeks ago when we did our law enforcement appreciation and first responder appreciation day.
It was awesome.
And
such a good time.
Had you caught a flounder ever?
No.
Until that day. And I'm telling you, dude, it was 4.2 something. We put it on the scale.
Yeah, I think it was like 22, 23 inches.
Yep.
But
That was the first?
That's her first. No, she had already caught it. Yeah.
That one was my second.
That was her second. She had already caught one that was a throwback, right? It was a small one.
Mm-hmm.
Then she caught another keeper. But the most important thing, like Chris and I were talking about earlier, this girl picked up throwing the cast net in like 2 tries.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved learning it. I mean, it's so
you got
cool.
a 6 foot?
Yeah, she threw the 6-footer.
Wow.
Yep.
That is.
But I'll tell you, again, like the importance of throwing a cast net, I can't tell you. If you want to, learn to throw a cast net, learn to cast a rod accurately, and learn to back a boat trailer down.
Okay, we're still working on that.
Learn to back a boat trailer down. That's something that every woman needs to learn. And I was sitting at the landing yesterday, and this beautiful couple from North Carolina, who watches my TV show on Let's Fish TV, were talking to me, and she was the one doing the trailer, backing it down, and dude, she nailed it. Like, I was embarrassed to back down beside her because she did it so quick. But
Power.
I mean, if you can't back the trailer down,
What
then
are
you
you
can't
doing?
do the rest of the
What are you doing?
I agree. I agree.
So it does take time. You got to think about it. You just don't just wake up and just know how to back a trailer. Okay,
Nope.
so it takes practice. And the worst is try doing a jet ski trailer. If you can do the jet ski trailer, you can do anything
Jet ski
else.
trailer is the worst. Or a small John boat and a
Yeah.
big truck. You can't see the trailer.
No.
Oh, it's a nightmare.
So it's better to do it with bigger trailer.
Yep. And it's
Bigger-
better to
bigger
do.
boat.
I'll tell you, the best tip that I was ever given was from Tony, and we've talked about it on the show before, is you're low on the steering wheel. Put your hand at the bottom of the steering wheel and use your mirrors. Don't turn around and break your neck. If you use your mirrors, if you're going down and the trailer starts to go this way, you move your bottom hand this way, you move your hand this way with the wheel, and the trailer goes back. It is awesome.
There is a test that our new officers have to do. They can before they do anything else.
They have to learn to do a
they have to
trailer
back
too?
a trailer.
Really?
They can't do anything else. So they
It makes sense though.
back trailer. And then as they get better, and there's some people that already know how to do it, then there's a timed course. And you have to back the trailer. Then you have to get the boat off. And then you have to, I mean, it's a laundry list of things you have to do. And then you have to go do like a circle and then put it back on the trailer, then hook it back up, and then pull out within a certain amount of time. So before they can do anything else, though, they have to back the trailer. Because if you can't back the trailer, then, I mean, with the big billboard here, people are going to be laughing. We're going to end up on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
But
You talking about that SEDNR logo?
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
So Ingles, how did you learn? I mean, how old were you when you learned how to back a boat in?
You're going to laugh.
Okay.
38,
38. So how'd you learn?
39. I had to learn because my uncle gave me his boat and said, you can use it, but you got to put it in. And so I had to learn. And I did not at that point in time even have any idea. Nobody showed me. I really just went down there and backed it down, did over the shoulder look, break your neck. And but as soon as Tony got in the truck, I was like, why are you doing all that, dude? Put your hand on the bottom of the steering wheel and just use your mirrors. Side mirrors are so much easier. And like in different situations, like in Georgetown, where on the Sampit River, that slope is so steep. Like if you try to turn around backwards, you literally break your neck because you're leaning like you're in a recliner.
Highway 22
to
is
turn
like
around.
That. The Johnny Vaught is like, it's really, really steep.
Oh, yeah, the one up in Myrtle?
And,
North
yeah,
Myrtle?
and here's the thing. A lot of people don't remember this. I do it like clockwork every time. I don't care if it's mine or somebody else, but, man, I'll pop that parking brake because it happens a lot. We'll get a call, hey, my car rolled down into the water.
Yep.
And it's funny because especially like aluminum trailers or really light trailers, they'll start floating, but the car's under the water.
The car's underwater.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
And then you're on social media.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Just remember.
Someone's recording you.
Just remember, anytime you screw up, you're going to be on social media.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, you will end up on social media, no doubt about it.
So have you got the bug now that you got your big flounder?
I do have the bug. I will say we got off that boat that next day, and I was like, when are we going? When are we going again, Inglis?
We were going to try and fish the King Mackerel tournament today, and I had we had three. We had McClure, who was recovering from. McClure actually sliced his foot open on oysters. Had to have quite a few stitches, and he was off the water for a couple weeks, and then he had to do some work through the church and had to volunteer and stuff. But we were going to fish today, but the winds were too bad, and we would have been within sail range, so we could have done a radio show from the boat.
Which is really cool, by the way.
Which is
That would have
fun.
been so cool.
Which is fun, and we're gonna. So in 2 weeks after our next first responder deal, we're gonna do one from the boat.
Reschedule.
And we got to go. We got to do something. Hopefully the Spanish show up because we definitely got to do that. Tony and I have been talking about that. We've got to. If that's one thing we've got to do from the boat live is chumming for Spanish.
100%.
Just so people can listen to the excitement. But when I had Piotrowski on the boat, I mean, that is one thing. He got addicted. He was like, this is so much fun. I mean, watching the fish.
Dude, when you got 100 3-pound Spanish busting the
just
water.
flying through the air. I told you about it. It's
Sounds
crazy.
like a dream.
It is so crazy to watch them come up and just annihilate mullet as you're throwing out 15 or 20 at a time to chum, and they go nuts.
Yep. Well, Adriana, real quick, because you and I were talking about your limits of where you go, and everybody
Yeah.
thinks with WBTW and PD15 and everything else, y'all covered at Georgetown, but you're really kind of confined to here north.
Yeah.
And there's so many good stories in Georgetown. I mean,
And that's the thing is there is, that market line, but, we're 20 minutes away from here, and there, like you said, there's so many good stories, and there's a lot of, I was just talking to my boss the other day, there's so many stories that happen down here, like the right whales, the red snapper, that affect the entire Grand Strand.
Yep.
There's just so many captains here that are willing to speak out about it. Not saying people up in, Little River up there aren't, but,
So does the line like stop at the Horry Georgetown line? Is
It
that
is.
it's kind of an imaginary line, though, isn't it? I mean,
It's right at the county line, so everything when you turn on the news here in Merle's Inlet and south from there, you get Charleston news.
Yep.
right? So the Charleston, let's not like call it is what it is, but
Yeah.
well, I'm going to call it
Char-
Nation 8. They don't
Charleston-
come up here.
yeah, you're right. They don't. Charleston they got their own big stories.
Yep.
I mean,
it's a big market, no doubt.
right, exactly. So this is like a donut hole almost, and you're right. You've got so many captains, and just like when you're talking about right whales and the speed limits
Yes.
and all that's coming up. You got a big market here, and I'll say it for the Little River guys, especially those that are more inland. And that's a long way to go just to get out of Little River, and then they got to get offshore to their fishing holes, and that's
Yeah, same way here.
yeah,
But then you got to put into it. You think about the cargo ships.
right,
Do you think any of those cargo ships are going 10 miles an hour? Have you ever seen one?
yeah.
They're hauling butt. Yeah. And they got to haul butt. They're making money. They're also bringing her shoes that she just ordered on Temu. They're bringing you the rod and reel that you ordered.
That's right.
You got to get them here in a timely manner. If they got to go 10 miles an hour or under,
You got vans.
it's
that came on that
ridiculous.
ship.
You got
Or
some vans that came on the
or
ship.
they don't know how to drive and they lose, or their throttles get stuck. And did you ever see those videos out of Charleston where the throttles got stuck forward
No.
and it
Gosh.
snapped some of the around where the military ships are coming out of the North Charleston terminal? It
Right.
broke some of the concrete structures. And it was a
Oh,
big
boy.
deal.
Ooh.
The runaway ship is what they called it. They were worried about what happened. Worried about the same situation happening. I think it was Baltimore, where the
Yeah.
ship hit
Yep.
the bridge. So, but they do move fast. I think people don't understand. If you got a 900-foot long ship at 17 knots,
They have no idea that boat's going 17 to 20 knots.
and it takes a long time.
You
for
got to
those.
be able to go. I mean, it's money and stuff, and you're transporting, exporting,
I mean,
importing.
look at
How
like-
about cruise ships?
You don't
Princess.
stop them. You don't stop them within a half a mile, much less on the
No.
time.
You got our guys right here, the new inlet and all that. I mean, still, that's a long way to those grounds out there. If
Yep.
they're going to go on a Gulfstream trip.
I'm going to tell you, Robert was ticketed via a satellite responder that was in the New Inlet Princess
AIS.
that you knew the story, right? Yeah,
Yep.
he got a ticket because of that.
What
And that's what they want to do to commercial boats. They'll put a responder in. They'll put a beacon or something in the boat that they can track, and they will.
And that begs the question. I mean, now for boats that don't have that, if this goes into effect, because I think it's supposed to final rules coming in November. Are these boats supposed to all get that? How much is
How much is that going to cost the government?
How
to
much
do.
is that
How
going
mu-
to cost businesses like Jason?
How much is it going to cost
And
boaters?
if he gets bigger boats, then what is the limit? Do you know?
30 foot, right? 35,
30 or is it
32.
35?
It's 35 to 65, I believe.
Right, 35.
So
That's right.
I mean, still, some of these smaller businesses or one owner business have the big support fishers, and that's their livelihood.
Yep.
But it is a little rough. I can see that. I mean, you get a ticket on the highway for speed. Now you're going to get a ticket on the water for speed.
Hey, so for those that might not know what we're talking about, real quick, is that South Atlantic Fisheries Management Council and NOAA have proposed a right whale speed limit that will be 10 miles an hour max,
10 knots.
and it will run from January through April,
Oh
or
gosh.
the end of April, or into May, or something along
say
those lines. Just
usually
like
March
4.5
or
months,
April.
right?
It's a
but-
few months.
During the migration
But
period.
it's their migration period, and there are less than 330 right whales in existence.
Give or take.
So you are slowing down all of that commercial traffic for 300, give or take 30.
And when was the last documented boat right whale
I
incident?
bet she knows.
I don't know, but I do know that they had said, I want to say it's since 2008. They said 5 of the 12 documented right whale deaths have been from boats less than 65. We're taking a picture right now.
Or video. Hey, there we go. We got to get that Trilogy sign in there. Well, all right, so we're taking pictures, sorry.
We got distracted.
Well, all I'm going to say is this. So listen to Adriana. She's a great reporter. And our first encounter was over the sailboat thing here where we met, and we've talked about that. And then a couple other things that happened that we discussed, and she did a great story on. But she absolutely amazed me in the details that she was working on behind a story that were not out in public. And I gave her major kudos because, you know, like she said, if she reports on something, she's basically putting her name with it.
Right.
And if she says this is what it was and doesn't back up her story with all the angles that could possibly have happened, she opens herself up to be in a bad situation, and she did that.
You know, and that goes back. You're exactly right. So we were talking off the air, and she made some good points about some other known news stories. You still got to report the facts. So you
Absolutely.
don't get to just make it up.
There's no opinion. There's no bias. You know, you have to stick to the facts, and you also have to keep in mind telling each side's story, because that's what it comes down to. You want to have a well-balanced story. That's what they teach you in school. I mean, I've been in this industry for a year now, but one thing that is knocked into your head is you have to balance the story out, because when you're reporting local news, you are out in the communities. People are seeing you face to face all the time, every day. And people want to rely on their local news. You can say whatever you want, but I think local news, at least from what I can say, you know, there's some integrity to be said, and we're passionate about like reporting the facts and having well-balanced sides, and that's what it's all about. I mean, that's why I became a journalist.
If you don't, you will get called out. Don't ever second guess
That's the name of the game.
And speaking about that, your dad got you into this, right?
He did.
Your dad was in it.
He was a meteorologist on broadcast, and I grew up going to the station with him. I never in a million years thought I would be in this industry. I always wanted to be on the digital side, back end of it. And then one day I took a broadcast writing class, and I fell in love, did a few internships, and then I knew I was like, this is the industry for me. And this is the type of job where you have to, in media, you have to absolutely love it. It is long hours. Sometimes you're not working. Most of the time you're not working when you're actually working. You got to love it.
You have to, do you focus on one particular area? Like, I know there's crime reporters and there's sports reporters, and there's like just an overall general. Are you more like an overall? Are you going to focus on our outdoors? I mean, that's a forte of yours, or?
It is, absolutely. And that was one thing before I picked journalism, is I wanted to do environmental, so I wanted to do some kind of environmental thing. But now, I mean, it's just all about the connections that you make. And I mean, I live in Merle's Inlet here, and the stories down here, like we talked about, are so important. But love anything government, anything law, anything environmental, outdoors, all that kind of stuff. And working with fire rescue, fire departments, police departments. I can't stress how many stories there are to be told.
So your sister station, I was involved a little bit with your sister station in Charleston. They started a show. It was a midday show once a week, and it was called Catch, Clean, and Cook with whoever the host was. And the young lady, I took her turkey hunting. I cannot remember. She has now moved to Florida, but it was a weekly show. It was an awesome show. I can see you doing that, like literally, like, and I think it would be. I think it would go over well here. I can't believe nobody's done it yet, but where once a week. You go, you're fishing, say you go with Fred, you're catching reds. You're going to have a hard time getting Fred to kill one, but you catch one, you come back, you have like a Chef Richard, or you go to one of the restaurants and you prepare it and cook it. And
take us through all the seasons.
Exactly. It's a great idea. And it's, would be a 30-minute show. But they were doing that. That was like their midday show on Saturdays in Charleston. And I could see you doing that. But importantly, I know the question he asked you was, you're gonna, you've got to cover everything here. I mean, that's your job, cover everything. But we're gonna really work hard. We're gonna work hard to corrupt you, and everything that comes up fishing, we're all calling Adriana. We're like, all right, so here's the story.
Yeah.
But that helps with your job because you need content. Like your job is to find content.
Every single day. I mean, we have to come in with, think about this, 3 story pitches every single day.
Yep.
Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. You're coming in with 3 story pitches every single day. When you're in, I mean, there's a lot going on here, but sometimes there's days when there's not a lot going on, and you really have to dig for stories
Wow.
each day. It is a grind.
So you're constantly on social media looking to see what's out there.
I mean, I love Facebook. And you're constantly working when you're not working. I mean, I work sometimes 2 hours before I get in, clock that, but you gotta love it.
I just want to follow up from what we were started talking about. Your imaginary line is here, but where
About 5
do you
minutes,
go north?
guys.
Okay.
How far north and west do you go?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we
How far
go-
inland? Because
yeah.
you're Florence. You guys are Florence,
Yeah,
right?
so we actually started in Florence. I mean, we're coming up
Yep.
on our 70 years this year. We're the legacy station in this market, which is awesome. One of the reasons why I chose this station. But anyways, we go up to Little River, that North Carolina, South Carolina state border. And then, I mean, we go all the way out to Bennettsville, out to that area. So to the state line up there. And then Florence. And then I think, it drops down around Marion and then Horry Georgetown County line. So we've got a pretty big market.
Yeah, you do.
here.
Yeah, you do. You
There's a
guys
lot of
have a big
stories.
market. It's a lot to cover, a lot to cover. And one thing I'll challenge any reporter to do is don't always concentrate on negatives.
Yeah.
And there's too much of that. You heard me earlier say about how much Jesus we need in our lives now. And it's when you flip on that media, when you flip on that WBTW, PD15, WMBF, I don't want to leave anybody out. When you flip it on and all you watch is negative, it gets old.
Well, I'm glad you said what you said earlier. You actually go through, I would say, the trouble to make sure you're getting both sides of
Both sides.
100%.
that story. And they may be vastly different, and we know that.
Yeah.
But at least somebody is not one way about a particular issue.
Exactly.
Good, bad, and different that matter. At least I appreciate you saying that to make sure you're getting both sides of that. That makes it, especially in our day and age.
Yeah.
So whether, like I said, good, bad, but you have a tough job, and you got to do a lot of research on your stories, and so and I would imagine with some keyboard pirates that you see a lot of opinions. So sometimes, can you imagine how much work that's going to be to decipher what's accurate, what's not?
Tony will tell you one of my biggest but one of the biggest things that I hate about YouTube and putting videos up is that for every 5 people that make a positive comment or enjoy it, there's going to be that one that no matter what, they're going to find something to beat you up on.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's their daily job, is to try to make other people miserable.
And they just love keyboard warriors. That's it. Like, you'll never meet these people. You'll never meet them. And most of the time, most of them don't even go out in public.
No.
But all they want to do is go through and look, and they're going to find something and just beat it up,
And I do think there are some people who do offer, I mean, we get a lot of emails and stuff constantly, and there are a lot of people who do offer really good constructive feedback, a lot of people being like, hey, I think this story could have been done better. But of course, there is always the people that, just want to say things, and it's maybe not the most constructive, but we do try to always take in that feedback, and it's like, okay, what can we do better next time? But
Never draw a line in the sand. Listen to both sides and keep your opinion, biasness out of it.
That's the truth.
Everybody's welcome to their opinions, but once you hit the public eye, if you say you agree with this one or that one, you're going to get hit hard. Somebody's going to disagree with it. And
All right, so let's talk about the week ahead real quick. Don't go anywhere, Adriana, but real quick, the week ahead, weather looks incredible for the week, finally. And you heard Captain Chris say it earlier. Weather looks incredible this week. Don't forget, on Monday afternoons, we're at the Murrells Inlet Public Landing. A couple more weeks, we've got our Monday afternoon flounder tournament. You can show up between 5:30 and 6 to get registered, put your boat in the water. You don't have to bring back the fish alive. You get an 8-ounce deduction for a dead fish, but you can weigh it, okay? You can weigh it. You want to fish tomorrow afternoon? Can you get off work?
oh yeah, I don't
All
mind
right,
tomorrow.
Tommy, you off tomorrow? You're on the road. You're on the road. I know
Going to
that.
Clemson.
You're on the road. You're going to Clemson. Go Tigers. Tomorrow afternoon at the landing, 6 to 8 o'clock. Great time. Tide is perfect tomorrow afternoon. No winds. I mean Monday, sorry. I keep saying tomorrow. I forget it's Saturday.
Thank you, Fred.
Monday afternoon. Thanks, Fred. Monday afternoons. Thursday afternoons, don't forget, at Waka Wachi, the Big Bass Battle at Waka Wachi. Hang on, the Big Bass
What are you
Battle.
trying to say, English?
The Big Bass Battle at Waka Wachi. Tony and the crew over there. And again, great weather this week. We're going to be at Crazy Sister next week and having a great time over there with our first responders and law enforcement. If you're off next Saturday, you're more than welcome to come join us again for that one. We got some really cool guests next week. Jeff Benton, your wife Wendy, is in our prayers. Thoughts, suffered a minor stroke as far as we know right now. Yesterday, you're in our thoughts and prayers, and hope Miss Wendy gets over this quickly and gets better. And let's see what else we got. I know there's a lot of prayers we need to give to a lot of different people. But other than that, we're going to get some great information out about the Spanish Mackerel Tournament coming up in August. And back to school for Georgetown County this week.
Is it this week or the
For
last
real? No, it's this week, Thursday. My kids are back in school Thursday.
Came around out of nowhere. Feels like summer.
Somebody
flew
said,
by like that.
Somebody said to me, "Did you have a great summer?" I said, "It feels like it's just starting, and my
Yeah.
kids are going back to school."
Yeah.
All right, I'm secretly happy though. Just so you know. All right,
you,
anyway.
you've got a busy week. Everybody's
Yep.
got a busy week. It's going to be great weather. Get out there. Come down and see us on Monday. And we got I know Matt's got some stuff going on.
Yep,
There at
at Walk'em All Outfitters. And tomorrow I'm going to be raising money for Luca James. Strongman Luca James will be at playing golf out in all 501 at the World Tour. All right, y'all, on behalf Adriana here, our good friend from WBTW, on behalf of Captain Fred, on behalf of Tommy, Mr. Green Jeans Buchanan, on the Flounder Pounder over there, Captain Jason Burton, Captain Chris Regan of On the Fly Outfitters, Tony the Bassmaster Carter. I am Captain E, and this has been the Trilogy Outdoors Radio Show on the Gator 107.9.
Trilogy Outdoors Podcast is a product of Trilogy Outdoors Media. All views and opinions of our hosts and guests are not necessarily those of our sponsors. Trilogy Outdoors is produced and edited by Trilogy Outdoors Media. Be sure to follow us on all the podcast platforms as well as our social media pages on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And also don't forget our other brands, Southern English Radio Show and Walk'em All Outdoor Magazine. To find more information, visit TrilogyOutdoorsMedia.com. And remember, if it's anything dealing with fins, fur, and feathers, you're going to find it right here on Trilogy Outdoors.